So we wanted to talk today about Bali, and we go every year to Bali in December on the Bali Quest. And it's just a remarkable place in the world. Bali is often called the island of the gods. And if you've been there once, you understand why it has received that accolade, island of the gods. You really do feel close to those vibrations of holiness when you're in Bali. And the people themselves worship in a daily basis. In fact, they make divine connection their top priority in life. And everything they do, all the way down to their workplace, their families, their interactions with people, are seen as holy interactions. They have a strong sense of extended family and community, and oftentimes they do ceremonies to honor the divine connection in their communities. And these ceremonies and celebrations happen frequently, maybe every couple of weeks. So there's always a community get together where the whole village, the whole town comes out and they celebrate. And it's quite a thing to witness. So in the Western world, we don't take our spiritual connection seriously enough. But in Bali, we get to witness what a culture is like that does take that connection seriously. So what would you like to say about Bali, Sondra?
Well, for me, Bali is just bliss. And by being there, you kind of learn what bliss feels like and you get used to it and you want more of it. You know, most people don't even think about that in the West. And every family relates to 7 different temples. I mean, and they use them. They're not antique things. They have a temple in their home, in their yard, in their town, in their district, and on and on. It goes all the way up to the Divine Mother Temple, which is spectacular on a mountain. And that is so holy that one time there was a volcano that exploded and the lava was coming down and it was about to hit this ancient temple. But suddenly it split in half and the lava went around the temple. And, you know, thousands of people saw that. So that's the kind of wonderful thing they have in Bali, is just all these wonderful temples, and the sacred sites are amazing. We take people after class to these sacred sites. There's one where there's 13 fountains and everybody goes in with very beautiful lace blouses and dress. You go in with your clothes on and you bow before these fountains and say your prayers. And it's very powerful. And the tourists go in there with the Balinese people. And, you know, that's one of the more power spots. And it's been said that that is one of the places of physical immortality even. So, you know, these people are wonderful, and just being there is wonderful. And besides, we offer one of our best trainings there.
Yeah, it's called the Bali Quest, and it's always the same dates. It's December 3rd to the 13th, and you can find it on our website. And the link for that is bit.ly/capital B, capital Q, capital R, and then lowercase ay, BQ Ray, with the first 3 letters capitalized. So yeah, that mention of that temple where the lava went around it, that temple is about 1,000 years old, and it's called the Baisakhi Temple. And the Baisakhi Temple is the main Divine Mother temple, they consider that. And it's on Mount Agung, and that's one of the major mountains in eastern Bali. And it's, you know, a place where sometimes the whole island goes there on certain dates. So there could be 30, 40,000 people there at the temple worshiping. Now, granted, we go when there aren't so many people there, so we can have a little better access to it. and we have a priest there who is our guide. We've used every year since like 2011. We met him, and we go every year, and he takes our group through the Basaki temple and shows them the most important places and the protocols for worship there. So the Basaki temple is one of our field trips that we take towards the end of the Bali quest. And it's also where you can write a letter to your mother and clear up any issues you might have with your own mother. And it puts you in a whole new vibration around this divine feminine energy. You know, in Bali, they worship the mother energy. And, you know, in Western culture, yes, we have Mother Mary, the mother of Jesus, but the divine feminine is not so much given attention, especially in the Protestant churches. Both of us grew up in Protestant churches, not Catholic churches. So the Virgin Mary was not in our iconography or much in the philosophy and the teachings. So a place like Bali, which is basically Hindu in background, there's a lot of worship of the goddess in that culture. And this temple, the Basaki, is one of the main flowerings of that worship.
Yeah, the first time I went to Bali by myself, people were bowing to me, and I just thought, wow, dear God, what's happened to the Western world? I've never seen such holy people. And you don't see any crime, and you don't see any homeless people. They all take care of each other. And one of the reasons it's so peaceful is their birth practices. When the baby comes out, they don't cut the cord for a long time. They keep it next to the mother and father, and then they keep it next to the parents and grandparents for 3 whole months before they even put the baby down. If you can imagine how secure that would make a soul. And then at that time, they have a whole ceremony, which the priest comes and all the relatives come. And that's the first time after 3 months they put the baby down. We were privileged to go to one of those ceremonies. It was so holy that I actually cried 3 times. Now, where are you going to find a place like that? So just coming there is wonderful. And what we're offering is this training where you could get breath work every day from someone, and you could actually start learning how to give breath work to another person. I mean, I can train you pretty fast to do that because I'm called the mother of rebirthing, and I was there at the beginning. So I know how to train you to be a breath worker, and we will do trades every day. So you get a session every day, and you get to trade, and you give a session every day. So you get to work on yourself besides going to all these wonderful spots.
Yeah, I think over the years we've created a nice melding of breath work with the offerings that Bali has, so that it's a very good balance between seeing some of the highlights of Bali, the most important spots, the most spiritually infusing spots where you can go and really get an infusion of a spiritual energy that you take home with you. So you're transformed in those places. On top of it, we do, like Sondra says, give breathwork training over these 11 days so that you can come in and pretty much get the basics on how to facilitate a breathwork session. But over the years, it's become more of a spiritual quest, more of an inner journey, more of a self-discovery, transformation of consciousness. Well, that's what breathwork is all about. It's about transforming our consciousness and ascending from a lower level of awareness about ourselves and our world around us into a higher level of awareness where we're seeing the better angels of our nature, our own nature. We're seeing the better angels of the people around us. And we're basically letting go of the past, forgiving our past, forgiving the people in our past, and coming to a moment in this present state, this present now, where we can live a more productive and happier life and let go of a lot of the baggage that we've been carrying around in our memory. And Bali enables us to let go faster. So when you're in Bali and you're totally immersed in a different culture, it's easier to let go. And so this is why we ourselves would always go back to Bali, because it's transformative for us as well. We're not just there teaching the things that we teach, such as breath work and some of these sacred sites that we encounter, but we're also going for our own transformation and our own evolution. You could call it ascension. We're all on a path or way of ascending into our higher nature, and that's what Bali offers people. It's an ascension into your own higher nature that you already have, but maybe it's asleep. So the Bali Quest is a way to wake up. And it's interesting because we call this Substack a call to awaken. And we try to put things in our feed that are going to help people awaken to a higher version of themselves, a more perfect version of themselves, and let go of their past and let go of their notions of limitation, and be all that they can be, and awaken to that self, that true self.
Yeah, Bali totally changed my life. So I know it's going to do that for you. I have total confidence that you're going to love it, and you have a lot of healing. So if you need to be healed of something, this is a good place to come to, because the energy is so high, it heals you. And also we will be teaching spiritual healing in one of the classes. So come and be with us. We look forward to meeting you, and write to us if you have any questions about it.
Yeah, and usually we have no more than 22 people on the quest, because that's the capacity of what our villas can handle. So you have very close personal contact with us. And I want to say a little bit about these villas where we stay. We started going there in 2010, and we only stayed a couple nights in these villas. We were having a training in another part of Bali, and we stayed a couple nights in these villas, and we thought, oh my goodness, these would be perfect for our Bali quest. So ever since then, we've been going to the same place, at the same villas, and we got to know the owner. We're very good friends with him. And these villas are perfect for our work. They're in combinations of single villas that house 2 people, and double villas that you get 2 and 2, so 4 people in that villa. And each villa has their own private garden and their own private swimming pool. So it amounts to like this kind of beautiful Balinese villa in the authentic Balinese style. And you have this wonderful setting. It's like a heavenly setting where we can even use the pools to do wet breathwork sessions, which we do. So we teach people how to do both dry and wet breathwork sessions, and people have access to us the whole time. It's like 10 days. If you got a problem, our door is always open, and we can help you work through any inner issues in yourself, in your family, in your work, in your life, basically. So we're totally available and totally accessible, and there's a limited number of people. I think 22 is the limit that we can have on the Bali Quest. So you get personal attention on this quest, and we stay at the most wonderful villas, and they have the most wonderful Balinese food. And so all your food's provided. You have breakfast, you have dinner, you have a snack in the afternoon. You have access to transportation into town whenever you want to go. We even have a driver who on one of the days takes people around to some of the best shopping areas in Bali. He knows those places. So this driver we've known also for, I don't know, what is it, 15 years almost, like Sondra?
He's like a saint.
He's like a saint. Yeah. It's like if you could imagine Lord Shiva driving your car, yeah, that's what he would be like. And he's the one who invited us to these ceremonies in his home, when his granddaughter was having this ceremony of touching the ground for the first time. She was only 3 months old, and he invited us to that. And there must have been 200 Balinese people there. Yeah. And we were the only Westerners that he invited. And I'm telling you, the food, the displays were opulent. They had these wonderful displays of food arranged in the most artful way. They had a couple of roasted pigs on some of the tables. It was a feast you can't imagine. And just the sacredness of it all and the togetherness of it all. You learn togetherness in Bali. It's like it's a joyous joint family that live together, and usually in a complex where they have the grandmother, the great grandmother, the aunts, the uncles, the kids, the grandkids, all living in one large, almost like a mini community. And it's quite something to witness in Bali. Anything, and we go to the Balinese dance. Mm-hmm. What do you want to say about the Balinese dance, Sondra?
Well, I mean, these dances, their costumes are so mind-blowing. Just to see that alone is worth it. And the dances are very intricate. And they've been trained like since they were little. They have dances that are just mind-blowing. And when you sit there and watch it, you change, because they look at you with their eyes, and they move their eyes toward you in such a way, and their movements of their hands put you in a trance. And so we always go to that. Well, I want to close with this one story. The first time,
I don't want to close. We're going to keep talking.
Okay, well, I'm going to close with this story. This is what I want to close with. The first time I went to Bali, I looked out the window and I saw these gorgeous women walking in a straight line. They had beautiful batik dresses, and they had on top of their head a whole pile of fruit, and it wasn't falling. I couldn't believe it. And there was like 100 women walking in unison, and I thought, where are they going? I have to follow them. So I followed them. They went down to the beach. They kneeled down. They didn't drop any apples or bananas or anything, and they put a batik along the beach and made it into an altar. Okay, altar outside. They do this a lot. And then they kneeled down and took the fruit off and put it on this batik cloth, which was the altar. And I thought, what is going on here? And I tried to find somebody that could explain it to me. And then I found this woman from the embassy. She said, oh, you're so lucky to see this. This happens once a year, and the whole island is praying for families all day today. Can you imagine that? The whole island all praying on the one same subject. That's Bali, and that's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit more about the Balinese dancers and my experience of that. We had gone to Bali for the first time. Sondra had been there, but it was my first time. And for a couple of nights, we stayed in the Oberoi Hotel on the beach in Seminyak, which is a very wonderful high-end hotel. So we treated ourselves to a couple of nights there. And one of the things that they offered the guests were concerts of these Balinese dancers. Okay, so we were fortunately there the night that they were going to have one of these dances. But it was raining, and they couldn't have the dance in the amphitheater that was outdoors, right? Because it was raining. So they brought the dancers into the dining pavilion that was covered, and they performed the dance right in front of us in the dining pavilion. And the good part about that was, because it was a more intimate setting, the dancers were only like 10 feet away from us. We could see every movement, every facial gesture, the costumes were incredible. And I noticed these dancers were obviously young girls. They looked like they were like 10 years old or 11 years old. They were very young and small. And I found out later that there's a dance called the Lagong dance, where they start training the girls when they're like 4 years old to do this dance. So by the time they're 10 years old, they're masters of this dance, right? And they're right in front of me. And it was so inspiring. I'd never seen anything like this. And I said to Sondra, you know, I studied art history about Western art for years and years and years. And in that study, I never saw something as evolved as this dance, and how behind the Western world was in what they were presenting, because this dance is the giver of pure joy. You felt pure joy watching this dance, and it actually transformed your inner workings, right? So I was so inspired, I started writing these 10 sort of prose poems about this dance. And within a day or so, I had these 10 poems, each about a page long. And then I thought, oh my goodness, what is this? It's the Divine Mother energy. It's the divine feminine energy coming through me. And I just kept writing these, quote, odes to the Divine Mother. Well, I did that for like 3 years. And that became my book I published called Odes to the Divine Mother, starting with these 10 poems to these Balinese dancers. So that was one thing that transformed my life. I had, kept journals, and I wrote quite a bit before that, but I never saw myself as like a poet. But that got me in touch with something deep within myself that was a talent. And I just kept honing my talent in that area. And I've written other things since then, some prose poems like those Odes to the Divine Mother. So I can guarantee that Bali will change your life and give you experiences of inspiration that could transform how you see things and transform your creative inner workings, so that maybe something that was dormant or asleep in you can be awakened. And then you'll just be so grateful that experience in Bali ignited something in you. It ignited like a catalyst, some deep part of yourself. And this is what Bali can do quite easily. Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to say about my obsession with Balinese masks, Sondra Ray? I'd like to hear it from your perspective.
Well, when you go to the dance, when they have the adults dancing, they do wear these masks and they act out drama on stage. That's why they don't have a lot of anger going on in life, because they act it out on stage, and so they wear these crazy masks. And they're very elaborate.
Not all of them, some of them.
Some of them were, and they're very elaborate. So a couple years ago, Marcus decided to find the best mask maker in Bali who makes the real deals. You can get cheap ones in the market, but these are the real deal. And so he kind of got into it, and I wish you could show him that.
Well,
up there. Is that possible?
I'd have to take it off the wall. I'm not going to do that on this one.
Okay, but anyway, these masks now, he has in his bathroom all over the place, and the one beautiful one of the Divine Mother we have over our bedroom. And that's just another thing we do, is we get into the art of everything over there.
Yeah, and because our driver is so well versed in knowing Bali like the back of his hand, he took us to the best mask maker that makes the masks for these. It's kind of like the Royal Academy of Dance, where we take people to see the dance, right? In Ubud. So he makes the masks for that dance company. And that truly is the Royal Academy. That's where all the nobility of Bali, whenever they have performances in their their palace or in their home space, they use the dancers from that academy. And this mask maker makes the masks for that dance company. And we go to his home, and he's like fourth or fifth generation mask maker. And he has masks that his older brothers made, his father's made, his grandfather made in his shop. And some of the masks that I've collected are ones made by his father, his grandfather. So it's like a lineage. And this is the way it is in the Eastern world. Those skills are passed down, they're handed down from generation to generation. So anyone that's in the arts like that, you can bet there's probably a very long tradition in their family of being involved with that art form. It could be painting, it could be silversmithing or goldsmithing, it could be sculpture. There are sculptors all over Bali in wood and in stone, and you see these shops all over. I mean, Bali is a haven for great art and architecture. And it's like everywhere you turn, you see some little vignette of people creating something amazing and just, off the charts, and always divinely connected. It's like they are vertical people. They live on a vertical plane of making their divine connection the primary reason for living. And you feel that. And that's why they call it Bali, Island of the Gods, because the ancient culture there was always focused on their connection to the spiritual realms. And it's easy to make that connection when you're in Bali. And then because you've made the connection and you feel it in your bones, you can bring that energy back to your daily life in the Western world, and you're transformed and you're an inspiration to those around you, because you have what I would call the X factor. There's some factor that you have inside yourself. You can't even really define it or explain it, but people feel that in your presence. And we feel that our trips to India, our trips to Bali, our trips to even Glastonbury, spiritual power sites on the planet, infuse us with this energy that then positively affects everything we do in life. And that's why we go to Bali. It's like you have a battery, right? You have a battery inside yourself that's your source of energy. And by going to these places like Bali, you can plug in and recharge and charge that battery up. So this is why we go. And we would invite you to come with us. We hope you'll consider it. And we have a blast. It's not only deep in our spiritual introspection, but it's also fun. And it's like a spiritual vacation that gives you something to take home with you that's timeless.
So we welcome you, and we look forward to having you with us.
So do you think there's anything else you want to say, Sondra? Can you just talk for one more minute about Bali, something about Bali that you enjoy? How about shopping? Shopping in Ubud.
Well, yes.
Tell people about that.
Ubud is an art center. So the shops are beautiful. You can get gorgeous boutiques. And actually, he was talking about the different things, the silversmithing, the woodcrafting. Every town is kind of specialized in one area. One town might specialize in woodcraft, another town in silversmithing, another town in boutique. And you can go and watch them do this. So it's very educational also. Yeah,
and our driver knows where those places are. Mm-hmm. And then they all bring their wares to this town that's the cultural center called Ubud. It's a little bit touristy, but if you can see beyond it, you can really get the feel of it.
But our villa is not in the real touristy part, though.
Yeah. So our villas are a little bit outside of town, and then we have taxi service from the villas that take us into town and pick us up and bring us back. So I think we have the best of all worlds. We're a little bit out in the rice fields, but they're beautiful villas, and it's like a heaven on earth staying in those villas. And we also have access to the town whenever anybody wants to go in. Plus, we do these breathwork exchanges where people actually practice facilitating breathwork sessions with another member on the Bali Quest. So that's we teach how to be comfortable watching someone else breathe and loving them in their own process. So it's like a real lesson in how to connect with yourself, how to connect with another person, how to connect with another culture, how to connect with your divine nature, which we all share. It's a week and a half of divine connection. So,
Okay.
so Boli
Boli
Baba
Baba
Ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Thank you for joining us for our first Substack Live. And we noticed we had 4 people here. So thank you all for
great.
joining us, Jody and Donaldus and anybody else. DI joined. So thank you so much. And I think this is going to be posted back up on the Substack so that you can watch it at a later time and also share it. So
Thank
God bless
you.
you all. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
in Bali.
Thank you.